Hello, beloved friends. I'm here to continue a conversation about the communications with the infinite, with spirit, with that whatever way you want to define that for you. For me, there is an infinite awareness that is communicating with us and opening us to receive the realization of our true essence, to know that we are a divine being communicated with our highest self, with the infinite God essence, or whatever you want to call it, to help move us along our path, that we're here for spiritual awakening, for opening ourselves to all that we're truly already are, that we are Christed beings, aligned with the infinite spirit of life and love and truth and harmony. But we've gotten ourselves trapped into this rat wheel of belief that we're less than the fullness of this. And so the universe will use all kinds of means to communicate with us, to get us to open to the truth of who and what we are. So I've talked about a couple of examples of communication that have worked on healing my inner child or just communications of various sorts. But today I'm going to give examples of communication through other people, through others that show up in our lives and not just here to flatter us or give us some kind of momentary feedback, but to jolt our soul into another realization or a new direction or an opening, an initiation. There are many ways that the communications happen with other people. And I'm going to give you a couple examples from my own life. So in my life, I've had many deep experiences, and we haven't talked about the dreams and that as a communication message yet, and those will be another video I'll do. But one of the ways is when people out of the blue show up in acknowledgement or recognition of the aspects of you that maybe you've been in denial or have only partially claimed. So at one time I had been seeing someone in another city, and I'd go there periodically and he would come visit me periodically. And in fact, this ended up being the last weekend that we were together. And I understand now it was exactly what was supposed to happen, because we were complete because of what else occurred, that we were together for a purpose, right? And in that moment, that what had occurred is he had taken me to some friends' house, and in the conversation, I suddenly felt this mantle of authority, I have no other way to describe it, that came over me, this sense of, and I started speaking and did a discourse in their living room. We were all in conversation, and suddenly I'm in a discourse with power and presence behind it, on divine love and the nature of divine love and how it operates. And it just came through me in this most profound way. It was shocking. And I didn't know these people. I had just met these people, right? And he was someone who was very unique in himself, in that he had been deaf until he was 7. He had learned and developed these inner awarenesses and these other senses as a result of being deaf. And when they discovered and were able to bring his hearing online, he already had this developed ability to see into the inner realm, see into the realms that exist in the invisible, and to hear the messages of spirit. So he was quite profound. So as we were leaving after this discourse that I did out of the blue, and I didn't even know what had just happened, he says to me, "I know you. I absolutely know you." Not like, oh, I've met you before, deja vu, or not even a past life thing. I know you. And I looked at him, and what came out of my mouth was a surprise, as much a surprise to me as to everyone around me. And I said, "Yes, you do. And you will remember by tomorrow, and you will call me and let me know that you remembered." And we laughed, and the guy I was with said, "What was that?" I'm like, "I have no clue." I I don't know what just happened there. Something took me over, and this was the exchange. And there's some purpose for it. Well, as we continued on, that same day, we are driving down the street in his convertible, and he sees a friend that he hadn't seen in a while. He's told me about this person, but I'd not met him yet because he'd been down and working with a spiritual healer for months. And so suddenly he jumps out of the car and runs to him, and we go out, and he says, "Oh, and I want to introduce you." And he goes, "Oh, this is Kira. You've told me about her." And he looks at me and he says, "When did you get so clear? When did you release all these other aspects of this world?" And I looked at him and just said, "Thank you for noticing." Because there was something in me that was resonating with something in him that was beyond this realm, that wasn't about the here and now worldly way that we operate all the time. So all of this in this one weekend. The next day, actually I was having an acupuncture session, and I come out and my friend says, "Hey, this other guy whom I'm mentioning from the earlier conversation, this couple, is on the phone for you, Stephen." And I said, "Okay, great." And I take the phone, and he said, "I remembered. It absolutely came to me. You were a teacher in the inner realms, and you did those discourses on divine love and many, many others that I learned and experienced and know you from those realms." And I said, "Thank you. You have fulfilled your agreement." And in that moment, there was as if some kind of gears connected and went, everything shifted in me. And I had been given the gift of a new sense of inner authority, a sense of connectedness to a part of myself that I had previously denied. And that we had this obviously agreement to come and for him to remind me and activate me at this point in my life. This was profound and powerful and shifted everything. As a result, not as a result of that, but my friend and I decided we were complete in our hanging out together, at least to the extent we had been. And in that journey, it was a very powerful experience to have that recognition, and everything started to change within me. My sense of myself and my ability to show up and speak my truth more powerfully, to bring forth some of the messages. Even now, I'm still just bringing forth some of the messages that have been in my soul, that have resonated through my experience, to help others understand the ways that the universe will communicate, the ways of the systems of our setting up patterns of initiating one another, of reminding one another, of being a catalyst. See, people in our lives show up for those reasons, to bring us a message, to remind us of who we are, to maybe catalyze something that needs to be let go. There are many, many reasons that others show up in our journey. And sometimes we are quick to naysay when someone is presenting something to us, to say, "Oh, I love this about you," or "I see this about you." But this is not just about someone seeing you in a superficial way, or even meaningful, but all based on the outer realms. There is a time and a place where the universe, where the infinite, where spirit is communicating with you by using someone as a catalyst to literally go right in through the space between your thoughts, to reach into the very heart and soul of you and bring forth that essence, to show you who you really are. And that's the catalyst of the communication of spirit in that moment. So my hope is for you that you are able to maybe become aware of circumstances in your lives that have been greater than you have given them credit for. Or maybe as you go forward, you're open to the ways that the universe might communicate with you that you have not really given credence to. To understand there is a power and an intelligence in the universe with Christ consciousness, divine consciousness, whatever name, it doesn't really matter. It is this ever-flowing movement of consciousness that is evolving us into the realization. It's involving our realization, because the truth is we're already fully realized, but it's evolving our conscious communication and understanding of our divine nature and who we truly are, so that we live from the fullness of our true spiritual nature here and now in this world. That's what we're all being called to. And I share these stories because they're things that I have held back in my world. I've shared them in specific moments here and there. But it's time for all of us to start to understand and operate from the interdimensional realms, the consciousness that is communicating and moving through us, so that we can live aligned with spirit and bring forth this time of the golden age on the planet, to bring forth a new realization of the truth of the magnificence that is alive in each and every one of us. I'm so honored to be on this path with you and to know the truth of who you are, of what you are. You are magnificent.